Now that I've tackled the good side of the Loud House, let us tackle the dark side of the show. No show is flawless and does tend to have a few hiccups here and there, and the popular modern Nick show proves it well. Today, I will tackle down the top 5 worst Loud House episodes from seasons 1 to 5. I will be looking at the devilish worst episodes of each season. How bad are they, and how much it infuriates me just thinking about it. If you like these episodes, then that's okay. It's just my silly opinion. With that said, here is the 5 worst episodes from seasons 1 to 5 of The Loud House.
Something memorable, not terrible. You're too long a drug from incredible. Don't remind me 'cause I already forgot about you.
Out on the limo. When Lincoln wins a contest that gives him the chance to ride a limo for the entire day, he gets into the wrong crowd featuring a snobby millionaire who runs a club. Lincoln joins it and breaks a promise that he made with his sisters. Good lord, this is how low season 1 Lincoln can be. Sure, you may defend him for his actions, but this is what happens when you take a nice kid like Lincoln and turn him into a snobby brat. If I were in Lincoln's shoes, I would roll up my window the first minute I see that poor excuse of a Monopoly man. So, what happens in the end? Well, Lincoln realized that he was in the wrong after his time limit for the limo expired and is kicked out of the club. As a result, Lincoln apologizes to his sisters the following day and makes it up for them by fulfilling his promise he made yesterday by taking them to the Bourbon Burger. And what happened to that Monopoly fake? Well...
You know what, Tetherby? How about some mustard to go with that bologna?
Despite what he did, I cannot stay mad at him for what he did here, but I cannot say the same for what he has done in season 2.
Don't remind me 'cause I already forgot about you.
We're all in the family. I know, No Such Luck is a bad episode, but it's not as bad as everyone states it. But Steam Team WK states that the episode is overrated because everyone talks about it. So, to honor his wish, I decided to look at Bro and the Family instead. When Lloyd and Lenny buy the same dress, a fight breaks out between the two. The other sisters try to separate the two by doing a fight protocol, and Lincoln makes it worse for the two by helping. What the fuck? That must be the most confusing description I have ever read, and this goes out for the whole episode as well. It is confusing as heck. Who fights over a dress? Whose idea was it to initiate a sister fight protocol? How dumb was Lincoln in this? Why was this even made in the first place? Knowing that the episode was supposed to tackle arguments and fights, this was done poorly, and knowing from experience, interfering with an argument can make it worse than it was before. So, how does it end? Well, Lincoln retreated to Clyde's for the night, and when he returns, his sisters resolved everything themselves, and it was all thanks to Lincoln for not butting in. However, that peaceful victory is short-lived because Lincoln accidentally revealed what the sisters say behind each other's backs. What the fuck? I'm not going to continue with this episode. Moving on.
Don't remind me 'cause I already forgot about you.
Ruthless people. This episode may have a few likers out there, but for me, I really do not like this episode. As of right now, I will explain on why later. When the Loud House is infested with termites, Rita offers the idea to retreat to Aunt Ruth's. But Lynn Sr. does not like the idea, and offers the idea to split up and stay in separate places. One will stay at Ruth's, the other will stay at Pop-Pop's. However, for Lincoln's group, who is staying at Pop-Pop's, things do not go well for them, while the other group has all the luck. You can tell why I do not like this episode. I honestly feel bad for Lincoln and this group. They could not get any luck throughout this episode. What I do not like about this episode the most is the ending. After trading places with the other group out of jealousy, it turned out that Lana kept a few termites from getting killed, and the river house that Ruth owns is not safe for living. So Lincoln's group retreats to Aunt Ruth's home. However, when Lincoln tried to swap places again with Lenny's group, it turns out that her group is on a cruise ship, giving Lincoln and the others the short end of the stick. Yes, no happy conclusion for this episode. Lincoln, Lori, Luna, Lynn, Lola, and Lynn Sr. got very, very unlucky. When I watch an episode, I expect it to end on a high note, like a happy tone. But Ruthless People ended on a low note, and a sour tone. A weak episode to a flawless season.
Don't remind me 'cause I already forgot about you.
Kings of the Con. Well, this episode mostly killed any future episodes of A Savvy, unless I spoke too soon, that is. In this episode, Lincoln and Clyde, including the sisters, head to an A Savvy convention and try to win a cameo for a movie. However, the sisters hog all the glory while the boys do whatever they can to try and impress the judges. If you thought Lincoln was bad before, this was his most selfish episode ever. All he and Clyde wanted to do throughout this whole episode was go to the convention and win the prize. Not to have fun or play all the activities and have a good time. Despite having a cool action sequence between the sisters against the kitty, who is the main antagonist of this episode, Lincoln and Clyde made up for their mistakes in the end and gave the prize to the sisters. But if that wasn't enough punishment for Lincoln and Clyde, the last few seconds of the special is much worse. I will not give it away for those that hasn't seen this episode, and it should stay that way. But let's just say that you will rage the heck out. What would have made this special a bit better is to try and have Lincoln and Clyde go up against a kid who is a rich snob. And that rich snob kid will be the one to release the kitty instead of our main heroes. And in the end, despite everything that kid has done to them, Lincoln decides to give that kid the prize. Since Lincoln is that kind of kid, he wants someone else to have fun. But that's not what we get in the final product. Kings of the Con? More like Kings of the Dumpster Fire. Because this episode is worthy of that title.
Don't remind me 'cause I already forgot about you.
The Loudly Bones.
Excuse me, what?
When Lisa finds a bone in the yard, she believes that it's a dinosaur bone. But when she learns that it's not, she selfishly gets a show despite the consequences she might get. Good lord, this episode made Lisa look like she was an idiot than being smart. If I have learned, do not jump to conclusions before you know the truthful answer. The ending of this episode is what triggered me and mostly a few people if possible. So, Lisa tried to smuggle a real dinosaur bone out of the museum when she learns that her fake bone is getting examined. But that goes sour fast. However, to make it up for Lisa, the scientist offers Lisa a job. Museum tours. Giving tours around the museum, and she's freaking 5 years old. This ending was so unexpected, I did not like it. It feels like the writers were trying to replicate what Lenny did in Shop Girl. Thankfully, as of right now, this ending did not give way for future Lisa episodes where the Brainiac worked at the museum. It might be because the writers thought that was a dumb idea to begin with. The Loudly Bones. Yeah, it's loud alright. Loud enough to say that it's the worst episode of Season 5 ever. Well, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your opinions on these episodes in the comments down below, and be sure to subscribe for more videos like these.